Okay, good morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube, just Daf It. Today we're starting the third parak. It's called Arba Nedarim. We talk about Taurus Nedarim, the way of if you made a nether, how you get out of the nether. Also, certain Nedarim that you take upon yourself. They were a mistake, and maybe they weren't a nether in the first place. Let's jump right into it. Chafam and Beis on the bottom, last three lines. Arba Nedarim Etiru Chachamim. For Nedarim, the Chachamim mattered. We'll talk more about what exactly means mattered. Nidre Zruzim, presumably it means, we're going to see it means basically that they're not nether in the first place. You don't even need to go to a Chacham to mat in the nether. In Iyam we'll talk about when you make a Pesach for a nether, when you go to Chacham to mat in it, does that mean they're actually doing something or they're just revealing there was no nether in the first place? Anyway, the four Nedarim in this mission are not Nedarim to begin with. Nidre Zruzin, Nedarim that you take upon yourself to motivate yourself. We'll explain in a second what that means. V'nidre havai, nedarim that you make to exaggerate something. V'nidre shkagos, nedarim that you make with mistaken thoughts, mistaken conception. You thought something that wasn't really true. V'nidre onsin, nedarim that you take, someone forcing you to take the neder. Nidre zuzin ketza. What's an example of nedarim that you take for motivation? Hayamoker chafei chayvetz v'omer konam sheni pokes l'chamin asela. You go to a vendor. This is prevalent a lot here in the Middle East, especially in Israel. Um, there's bargaining, there's haggling. The guy says, I'm not gonna give it to you for less than a sella. A sella is 4 dinarim, 4 dinarim, Kuwaiti dinarim, the most expensive currency in the world. I don't know, $12. Omer, konam sheni most of the shekel. He says, I'm not adding more than a shekel. A shekel is half a sella, which is two dinarim. Say $6. So he's saying if I sell it to you for less than $12, so the money, the chayfas that you're getting is going to be an eder. I'm putting an isser on it that you can't benefit from it. Another person said, if I give you more money, the money that you get is an eder on it. Shneyen, the top of Chaval Funal, Shneyen Rotzim Mishlosh Dinarim, they could come to an agreement, which usually happens. You're haggling. You meet somewhere in the middle, 3 dinarim, right? One less than 4 dinarim, one more than 2 dinarim, and that's okay. And there's no nether. They're going to explain why there's no nether. Where it says, "Arba nedarim material chamim." Amar Rabbi Abba Bar Mamal Rabbi Ami Amar Lamishmei Rabbi Yehuda Nasiya Mantan Arba nedarim. Who is the author that teaches us that Nidre Zruzin don't take effect, or all the Arba nedarim don't take effect? Rabbi Yehuda he must be Rabbi Yehuda. The Amar Mishum Rabbi Tarfon Olam Einachem Mem Nalchel Officially Naziras Allah Hafla. We mentioned in the previous document about the Shita of Rabbi Tarfon. Tarfon is an unusual Shita that a neder can, or a naziros, which is a type of neder, can never take effect when it's conditional. For example, two people are waiting and they say, if this person coming towards us is a nazir, very likely in this day and age that he's a nazir, then I'll be a nazir also. The other guy says, if this guy's not a nazir, then I'll be a nazir. So they find out the guy comes. Whether the guy's a nazir or not a nazir, one of them should be a nazir now because one of their conditions came true. Retirement says neither of them are nazirim because anytime you make a tanah, you make a condition in your neder, it's ineffective. Neder has to be lahafla. Nazir is el lahafla. The pasuk is lahafli. You have to be explicit. When you're making something conditional, it's like you don't know at this point. It's not explicit. It never takes effect as a neder in the first place. So therefore, a Mishnah, the reason that when they agree to shlosh dinarim, the reason there's no neder over here is because they made it conditional. They said, I'm only going to sell it to you for 4 dinarim. If it's less than 4 dinarim, then it's a neder. That's a condition. A condition he didn't intend to do it, or he did intend to do it, but it's not considered a neder. It's not hafla. And that's why there's no neder. There's no isser when they settle for 3 dinarim. Rava Amarova says, Afilu tema Rabbanon. You can even say that our Mishnah follows the Rabbanon argument Rabbi Tarfon. Mikasani Shnei and Ratu, Shnei and Rotzin Kasani. Meaning, it's not that they originally planned on getting 4 dinarim, and this one said, I'm not paying more than 2 dinarim. They really wanted to settle for 3 dinarim. They both were willing to pay 3 dinarim. The reason they said this is they wanted to get, the seller wanted to get at least 3 dinarim, and the person who was buying didn't want to pay 4 dinarim. He wanted to pay only 3 dinarim. So they originally wanted that So therefore, they never intended. There was no kavanah. We're going to learn neder. You need kavanah to make a neder. If there's no kavanah to make a neder, they originally were okay with 3 dinar, and they just said something else. It's not pivli boshavans. Therefore, it's not a neder. Amar le Ravina Ravashi. Amar lo tfei misela. Halo amar batzir mishekel. So our Mishnah studied a case where they had different prices, but they weren't that far off. One says 4 dinar, one says 2 dinar. And what if one says 5 dinar, and one guy says 1 dinar? And then can they resolve and then they agree to 3 dinar? Is it a neder or not? Amar l'tfei misela halmar batzim mishekel nidra heavy. Oh, zruzin heavy. Is it zruzin, which is not a neder or a neder? Amar tanina. We have a proof for this from Brayis. I'm a star of bechavira sheyochal eslo. You're pressuring your friend to come eat by you. Come eat a meal by me. I have delicious food. My wife makes the best potato kugel in the world. There's no potato kugel like my wife's potato kugel. The other person doesn't trust his kashrus at his house. I'm making up a scenario. Amarlo kona beiskash nichnas. Right? I was making a neder. I will never go into your house. If I do go into your house, I'll be asr bekonam. Tipa Sony and Shani Tony. Even if I go into your house, I won't even drink any water that you drink from me. Usher with a nether. Mutter likanas lebeito. Technically, he can go into his house. Well, this show the amount of sun. He can drink water from him. He can't eat, but he can do these things. What he said, he just wanted to make it very clear. He didn't want to come to his house. He didn't want the potato kugel. He said it for sort of an exaggeration, just to strengthen his words. I'm not even going to your house. I'm not going to drink any water. That he's agreeing to, amenable to do, because the water comes bottled water. There's 10 kashrut certifications on the water. Doesn't have to worry about that. He just didn't want to eat potato kugel. The Gemara says, why is he not in there? He said the word tiba zonin. That's the way people talk, right? People talk, right? They exaggerate a little bit. I don't want to come to your house. I don't want to. No, really, right? He said he meant he didn't want to eat, but he doesn't have a problem coming into the guy's house and looking at the guy's baseball cards collection. He just didn't want to eat potato kugel, right? Baseball cards is okay with, but not potato kugel without 10 kosher certifications. Amar lei, top of Kapal and Bez, me dummy. You can't compare the two cases. Gabi Tzone Sadiqim Omer Ma'ad Osim Harbe. Of course, talking about Tzadik over here, he won't eat the potato kugel unless it has 10 kashrut certifications. So they say a little bit. They do a lot, right? They say even a drop of water, but right? They don't intend to do that. Here, when talking about two people in the shuk, two people in the marketplace, they're haggling over a price, right? They're pretty intent on getting their money. Dilma Paklam Yisrael Yosef Shekel Kalmar is Ruzin heavy. Maybe really they were just motivationally making a net there. They wanted to get a better price. Dilma Dafka Kalmar, maybe they really only wanted 5 dinar to sell 5 dinar, or one dinar, buy for only 1 dinar. The Nidra heavy, and it's a nether. Tiboy, the Gemara says, unresolved. Figure it out yourself. The 4 Nedarim mentioned in our Mishnah, don't think that they're not a nether to begin with. You have to go to a chacham to matter it. When I said that in front of Shmuel, Amar Tani Arba Nedarim Hitiru Chachamim. The Chachamim mattered it. Of course, you don't have to go to a Rav to matter it. It's the Mishnah is saying that those are not Nedarim to begin with. Rav Yosef Rav Yosef taught the previous teaching in a different language. A Chacham, when he's matir and neder, he can only matir like the Nedarim in our Mishnah. Right? Presumably he agrees the Nedarim in our Mishnah don't need any hatara. When a Chacham is matir and neder, we'll explain certain ways that a Chacham can matir and neder, presumably through Pesach, normally through a Pesach. Right? He can only do it the way of those 4 Nedarim. Kasavra and Posim Charata, to tell you what. Even though there's 2 ways really to matir and neder. One is to do a Pesach, to show that the person really never intended to make the nether. If he would have known about certain things at that point, he never would have made the nether. That's a Pesach, which is similar to 4 Nedarim in our Mishnah, where there's a lack of knowledge or a person didn't really intend to make the nether. And then there's something where the person had full intention to make a nether, but later on, after he made the nether, he regretted that. So the fact that Ravasi is saying this, showing that he holds you can't matter nether through charata, through simple regret afterwards, that doesn't matter nether. How else can make the Rav Huna? Someone came in front of Rav Huna. They libcha Allah. He says, when you made the neder, were you paying attention to what you're saying, right? Were you really into your neder when you were doing it? Libcha Allah, were you serious when you made your neder? You're just joking around. Amalei lo, I was just joking around. Shari mata the neder, the Pesach. Who else made the Rava Barav Huna? Amalei, Eli Yasar b'nei Adam she faisuch was. He was very angry. He made the neder. Mina dark. He had 10 people who were trying to comfort you and to assuage your anger. Right? Would you have made the neder? No. So Amalei lo ve'tiru mata the neder. This is a Pesach, right? Adaiti the haki. If I had the knowledge, I wouldn't have made the neder. Tanya Rabbi Yehuda Omer. Omer Adam leaves the alecha. You say to a person, was your heart with you when you made the neder? Yamar love material so. If he says no, you mat the neder. Shmuel Rabbi Yossi Omer Mishum Ave Omer Adam Ila Yu Asar Bnei Adam. Like we said before, a very good way of being matter neder. If there were 10 people, usually people make Nedarim when they're very angry and they're upset. If there were 10 people to calm you down at that point, mina dark, would you take the neder? Omer love material so. If it says I wouldn't have made the neder, you matter it. Who also made the Ravasi? Omer lo kado to hate. Do you still feel the same way about your neder, or do you regret you making your neder? I'm a little low, so I don't feel great about my neder. I regret making my neder. Sharyet. This is the one example in the Gemara over here of charata, or a person mischarit over his neder. He come out of the neder. How the ask made the Rav Elazar? A certain person came from Rav Elazar. I'm like, boy, neder. Did you really want to make the neder? I'm like, ilu lo maragstanli lo ba'inan klum. If they wouldn't have made me angry, the only reason I made the neder, people are making me angry, right? You're getting upset. They're calling me names. I said, you can't benefit from any of my possessions. My $1 billion, my bank account. Yes, my son, you can't benefit from any of it because you made me upset. You cried all night, and I had to deal with you. So I'm making another. You can't benefit from any possessions. If they wouldn't have upset me, I wouldn't have been another. I'm like, hey, boy, be like you wanted. It's not another. I saw the Ardarta Labarta. A certain woman, she took another against her daughter, that her daughter shouldn't benefit from her possessions. Asking with Rabbi Yochanan, she wanted to mata the nether. She came to Rabbi Yochanan, Amar La, Ilo have a yada the Amar Megirascha, Allah the Barta, Ilu lo Chamad ba Ima Milin da Aziva, Tabak Bedim and Allah, Bichdi lo Adarta. People, the neighbors are going to say about you, right? Why did this mother make a nether against her daughter to forbid her from using all her possessions? She must have seen something really bad in her daughter. Maybe her daughter committed zinus or something like that. And now the neighbors are saying, Mina Darta, would you made the neder knowing now the neighbors are saying bad things about your daughter? Amr lay low. I never would have made such a neder under that understanding, under that knowledge. Visharye, imatra the neder, which is Pesach. That's the conclusion of today's shir. The only difference in this Gemara, the only unique thing about this Gemara is a statement of Rav Asi. Rav Asi says kadot tehis, where seemingly the way the article explains it is that this charata, regretting the neder. We mentioned before that charata, charata doesn't wear. Posting the charata. What is charata exactly? What's there in charata and a Pesach? I'll explain that in Iyot Ben Sion coming up next.